this passage was important to Grayson and his mission team. So Isaiah chapter 6 verses 2 through, I believe it's 8. Above him were seraphim, and each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces, and 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. And they were calling to one another, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The earth is full of His glory. And at the sound of their voices, the doorpost and the threshold shook, and the temple was filled with smoke. He said, Woe to me, I am ruined. For I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among people with unclean lips, and mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty. And then one of the seraphim flew to me with a live coal in his hand, which he had taken from the tongs from the altar. And with it he touched my mouth. And he said, See, this has touched your lips. Your guilt has been taken away. Your sin has been atoned for. And then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us? And I said, Here am I. Send me. So then God said, He said, Go and tell the people. So Grayson went to, tell us where you went. Grayson went on a mission trip. We're going to let him tell a story. So let me back up before we start. I told you I'd get you into the first part. So we want to hear his story, and we're going to do this kind of as an interview. I will ask and poke and prod at him a little bit as we go. Okay? So Grayson, tell us where you went.
Well, first off, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who supported us, me and Mom, because, I mean, if you want to be y'all, we want to be able to even go on the trip in the first place. So, thank you to each and every one of y'all. But yeah, so our trip was in Lodgepole, Montana, and it is in the boondocks. Closest gas station is about 45 minutes. So, yeah, but beautiful place.
So who'd you go with? Tell us what church you went with.
So, it is my mom's stepdad's home church. It's Andersonville Road Baptist Church of the Mill, and that's in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Okay. So, what made you feel called to go?
For probably the last 3 years, me and Lane have been talking with Mom about going on a trip. And this past semester, I worked heavily with Campus Outreach Ministries at the Citadel. And I had 2 opportunities arise that I felt the Lord was calling me to go and serve. And the Montana trip was the one that we chose. And yeah, it was a great decision, I must say.
All right, so what was the original plan?
So we flew into Billings, Montana on Sunday, and we had another 3-hour drive. And we were doing a children's basketball camp / vacation Bible school for about 2nd to 6th grade kids. And we also had another group of kids, I say kids, high schoolers, going into college that were set aside, about 5 or 6 of them. They were going to do the high school basketball camp in Harlem, which is about 45 minutes from where we were.
And these kids were supposed to spend the night and stay.
Yes, in Lodgepole, we were working with Montana Indian Ministries, and we were on the reservation, and we had about 10 cabins, like a cafeteria and everything, and the kids were supposed to come in and stay with us from Monday to Thursday, and we had the whole week to do activities with them and try to share the gospel with them.
All right, so how many people did they tell you to anticipate on that first day?
120 kids.
And so this is where it doesn't go to plan. We spent a lot of time, so I know what's coming. So tell me what happened on Monday morning and when it didn't go to plan.
Well, the first thing we did go to plan was Sunday night. We got hit with 2 curveballs. I had no idea what was going on. I had no information really. I signed up for the trip and I went. So Sunday we get in and Bruce was he's the chief and he's the spiritual chief, and it's really big because he's an openly Christian man, and having a Christian spiritual chief as a Native American is big. So we met with him, and we're excited, we're ready. And he said 120 kids, and that's what we were preparing for. What we weren't preparing for is that he took our phones and our wallets and everything valuable we had, because they had problems with children stealing. And so yeah, that was a big curveball, especially for all the teenage girls over there.
I actually was excited to hear that, because several times I thought about texting him throughout the week, but he wouldn't have gotten until the end of the trip. So I feel years past. So Monday morning, there's not 120 kids there.
No.
So tell me what you're thinking and how long some of that took us a little bit.
So Monday, we ate breakfast at 7:30, and we were told 8:30, 9 o'clock, the kids should start rolling in. And everybody's excited. We're ready just to have somebody there that we can, that we were there for both kids, so we're ready for them. And I don't even know when the first kids showed up, maybe lunchtime, and we were sitting around doing nothing, talking. Some of us kind of helped out with the construction crew that was there also. We were pretty defeated. We were excited, and then where the kids at? So it was like Wednesday now. So it was like, it's like, why are we here? The kids aren't here, so Lord, why are we here?
All right, so I know you ended up helping before you. By the way, children aren't coming. We're gonna get there. So, but you spent some time working with construction, some group that came to do construction there at the camp. There was some wise piece of advice you got during this time.
So, we're sitting there talking, and I see these 2 men working in a bathroom. They're painting. And I was tired of sitting around doing nothing, so I was like, I'm going to help. I went to Saltassee. I know how to do a little bit of construction. And I studied that in school. Let's do it. The names were Mr. Wayne and Rusty. And me and Mr. Wayne connected automatically because he was a civil graduate in 73. And we talked about everything under the sun. We talked about football, we talked about past mistakes, and we talked about the Lord. And just me being defeated, trying to figure out some way to help, and we all spoke together and talked, and we said, we had a plan. It didn't go as planned. And this is where, your faith comes in. You have to trust in the Lord that, you're here for a reason. And this isn't your plan. This isn't your life. It's His. So, from then on out, it was I was a little defeated, but I switched, and I remember what he said, and I was like, Lord, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know if I'm supposed to have these kids and pouring them all week, or if I'm supposed to be building all week. But whatever it is, Lord, I'm putting my faith in you, and I trust that you're going to use me whatever way you see fit.
So then I think Alan is actually the young man that's on the cover with you, right?
No, so that's actually Franklin.
Oh, okay. All right, so sorry, I can't keep everybody straight. So tell me what happens when you finally get somebody on Monday, how that looks for you.
Yeah, so we had 2 kids come in, and I was assigned this little kid named Alan, and he was a cool guy. We we got there, and he's nervous. He doesn't want to talk really. And the first thing he said to me, "Hey, can we go play basketball?" So I was like, "No, let's go play basketball." And we played basketball for hours. And I don't know if anybody has been out west, but it's really dry, so you don't feel yourself sweating. But at the end of the day, I was beat, and it was good. Sadly, he only got cut that first day. And I don't know why, but I did hit another kid too, Andrew, and he was a rock star, and the whole entire camp knew him, and it was funny because Mom got a picture of me, and by the end of the week, I'm sitting up with my knee up on like this stool, and you see him right beside me doing the exact same thing. His knee was stuff like that happened all throughout.
What's it like? So you're supposed to have a group of kids, you ended up with one young person the whole time. So what's the interaction look like between you and Andrew as we get later in the week?
Everything is intentional. We were expecting each counselor to have 5, 6 kids, maybe more. And, at first we were sad that we didn't get these kids, but I spoke with Mr. Lanigan and this man named Russ, and we all agreed that, we can use this, and this can be big, because you have a lot of kids, you don't have intentional conversations with them. You have to watch after them, and one person wants to go play basketball, and one person wants to do this. So having that just one kid the whole entire week, I could pour into him and be intentional with every conversation. And there were very good conversations with Andrew. By the way, he's 7 years old, so I tried sharing the gospel in one night, and the next day I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, you remember what we talked about?" And he's like, "Nope." But while we were speaking, everything I explained to him, he was like, yeah. And I think he was understanding it, but he was more focused on basketball at the time.
So, but there hadn't been a lot of conversions at these camps previously. But y'all did see some of that at the end of the week, right?
Yes. So we were told there was in 5, this was 6 years going back, there have been a handful of kids that accepted Christ. And there was this girl on our team, her name is Hannah. I think she's a rising junior, senior in high school. And she had a handful of this little girl, and her name was Carly. And the first day, me and there's a group of guys that always, at the end of the day, we always hang out. She came out there and she was jumping on us, pulling our necklaces, she was a mess. But and Hannah, she was very intentional with her because we know certain kids she had to look after. And it was like anytime that she tried to have intentional conversations and try to share the gospel with her, it was like she was like, I want to go do something, kind of like not giving her the opportunity. And it was on Tuesday when 3 other girls came out. They had to go to a funeral that Sunday before, so they came out, and one of them was kind of paired with Hannah and this little girl. And I think it was on Wednesday night, and Hannah, she was just beat. And she was ready to give up, and they just dropped everything they were doing. They were like, let's just read scripture. And Carly ends up coming over there with them, and just starts asking questions, deep questions, like how do I get to heaven? And what is heaven? And it was that night where she said, I want to go to heaven. I want to accept Jesus. And she did. And that was, I think, the first acceptance that we had on the trip. And it was a good night because we were doing s'mores, and it was like she came over there and told everybody. And it was awesome.
Yeah, so that night has eternal consequences.
Amen.
That decision lasts for eternity. as good as that school was, that decision, that class attorney. All right. So you and I have been talking through all of this. So how did you grow in your faith in this? Because this is not, you're thinking, how am I going to serve? How am I going to serve? And I always tell folks how you grow in this things is much surprising to you. So how did you grow in your own faith?
Just understanding that not everything is going to go as planned. And that's, when everything's going good, it's really easy to be like, thank you, God, like this is going great. But it's when the curveballs and the obstacles come where your faith is really tested. And for me, it was putting not half of my trust, but all of my trust in God. And knowing that, I have a plan, but it very well may change. And just offering myself to the Lord, saying, use me in whatever ways you do. And then taking everything we learned from this trip and just seeing God working on these kids, just made me want to just carry that momentum into school and just continue with campus outreach and just surround myself with people who are going to keep me accountable and challenge me.
All right, so I'm going to back up because I skipped something. So you experienced God's presence with something after the kids had kind of gone away. So tell that part of that story. I think it was kind of like a culminating point of the week. It was Thursday night, and all the kids had gone, and it is an emotional whirlwind. I mean, people are crying, now we're happy, laughing, and this is the first bit of free time that we had all week. Because once those kids showed up, I mean, that was your kid for the week. I mean, you had to make sure they were showered, brushed their teeth, and I didn't know how hard that was. That's in the parenting
But, so we're hanging out and we're playing cards, and one of the he's going to be a freshman in college, and me and him bonded really well over this trip. He's actually the preacher's son. His name's Ty. He was infatuated with making coffee and trying to make good coffee because the coffee was watered down all week. So we started playing cards, and I think I had about 8 cups of coffee that night. And we were down in town. We were going to watch the sunrise. 4:30 comes around, and in Montana it's weird because it doesn't get dark till 10, but the sun starts coming out at 4 or 4:30. So we're sitting there, it's a group of 5, and we just start talking about 5 o'clock kids, and the sun's up, but we can't see it because we're in like a valley. There's mountains all around us, and it's beautiful. And it's not, we can't go on a hike, it was more like a walk up a little mountain, like hill almost. But somebody said, you want to walk up there? And I was like, yep, let's do it. So it's 5:30 in the morning. I've been up for 24 hours, and we're walking up this mountain, and it was like the climax of a movie. Like when we got up top, and you just start looking around, you can see just miles of never-ending, just like rolling mountains, and the sun just peeking over. And we sat and we listened to some praise and worship music, and it was like that was our world. In that moment, we all felt God's presence right there. And I wish that I could explain it better, because there's no way to explain it. I mean, it was like we were getting a big hug. Like it was like, good job. And it was special because the people that we were with, I hadn't spoken to them the whole entire week. Maybe passing like, hey, how's it going? And I didn't know them. But for some reason, the Lord put us in that moment at the same time to share that experience, and it was pretty special.
You tell me that moment was not on the trip itinerary? So you come home now. You're about to start your senior year at the Citadel. What's it like now? Because you're different on the other side of these.
Just trying trying to keep the fire lit. It is hard because as soon as you get home, you're coming back from a trip where you're surrounded by 30 other committed Christians that all they want to do is pour into the kids and to each other. And back home, I can't say the same. It's not every day we're not, in the Word and praying together and talking about Jesus all the time. But it's just, I have a lot better outlook on this semester now. And I'm glad we did the trip plan because now it's like, we're on the trip, have a little bit of summer left, and then school. And it's just me putting focus on not losing that drive and that spark this semester and trying to go on from trip that we had planned to going into school where, the Lord might use me in all kinds of ways there. And me just, like I said already, but trying to keep the spark lit and continue to grow in my faith and with those around me.
All right, I'm going to do something that makes me nervous. You got 2 minutes to do anything off script you want to do. Notice I said 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Off script. I really do want to thank y'all again. And I wish I could take the feeling that I have in my heart and let each and every one of y'all feel it. Because it's just special to be able to go and serve. And if I could tell anybody if they have the opportunity to do it, it is worth it. And me and Pastor John were sitting at Cracker Barrel, and I was just so hot. I was amped up. I was ready to go serve.
We got a seatbelt to stay in his chair.
And he told me, he was like, Grayson, you're not going to realize how much this is going to affect you. I know you're going to serve, but this is going to affect you, and it did. It really did. I felt like we all did a lot of good things, and we served those kids to the best of our ability, but I didn't realize that, I was going to get gut punched and just be overwhelmed with just emotions, like, I want to do this, like, all the time. And if I could, somebody told me, hey, there's this trip in Africa, you can leave tomorrow. So I'm ready. But just thank you all. I hope that, this one was good for everybody here. You got to hear a little bit about what we did, and hopefully y'all enjoyed hearing it as much as we enjoyed doing it.
Y'all tell Grayson thank you.